Greetings gamers and welcome to level 55 to 56 leveling guide. This is part 1 where we're going to go into the dungeon the Necrotic Wake. If you'll recall, in the last video we went in and the Hand of Courage, he got pawned, didn't he, rather a lot. So now we're going in to sort out the mess. The tip of the day says you can right click on your character icon and you can change the loot that you're going to get, but I don't really want to talk about that at the moment because I want to spend this time talking about the adventure guide, because the last time we went into a dungeon I think I glossed over the adventure guide and I really want to go into a lot of detail in this video. But before I do that, there's the obligatory sorting out
that
of
would
the
scare
inventory.
you shellless.
Now, I have had enough of that dagger. It's been the bane of my life since the BFA expansion that we went through in Kultiras. So I'm just going to vendor it, because obviously nobody wants it.
Have anything ancient to trade? Needs to be at least 2 centuries old. If you find anything exotic, bring it to me.
Okay, I'm going to eat that pineapple pizza. It's actually got a debuff attached to it because the game developers think it's disgusting, although I like pineapple pizza. But the food and drink can actually add to an achievement, so just in case there is an achievement out there, I'll do that. I'm talking from way back when you used to get an achievement for eating something like 100 different types of food and drinking 100 different types of drink or something along those lines. I don't know if that achievement's still in the game, but I'm going to eat and drink that stuff anyway. At least it gets rid of it from the inventory. And I'm going to drink that Dark Moon Fair sarsaparilla. I think I'll vendor the rest.
Greetings, sir, and/or ma'am. Not everything in the ocean is as good-looking or nice-mannered as I.
Okay, so I was going to talk about the adventure guide. So let's pull up the adventure guide and go under dungeons. The dungeon we want to go into is called the Necrotic Wake. And before we go into a dungeon in a group, it's usually polite to actually know what you're letting yourself in for. So let's have a read of what the adventure guide has to say about the Necrotic Wake. In an unthinkable act of treachery, forces from Maldraxxus, the realm charged with defending the Shadowlands, have invaded the Temple of Courage. They have pillaged Anima and taken slaughtered Kyrian to fuel their dark practices. If left unchecked, the necrotic forces of the necropolis Zolramus will pillage Bastion, leaving destruction in their wake. The corpulent mass of rotting flesh, known as Blightbone, was lovingly constructed by surgeon Stitchflesh. Now the abomination is eager to be unleashed on the Temple of Courage. Periodically, Blightbone will heaving retch towards a player, spewing up carrion worms. As carrion worms attack their target, they grow larger, eventually exploding into a carrion eruption. Position heaving retch to avoid hitting other players. Carrion worms cast Blood Gorge instead of melee attacking, eventually exploding in a carrion eruption. Okay, so we can learn more about the moves that are highlighted by simply hovering over them. Heaving Retch, 100 yard range, 2.5 second cast, 4 second cooldown. Blightbone hurls a toxic spew at all players in a cone in front of him, inflicting 2,982 nature damage and an additional 497 nature damage every 2 seconds for 12 seconds. As Blightbone spews forth up to 2 carrion worms. Carrion Eruption. The carrion worm explodes, spraying all players with noxious goo that inflicts 1,242 nature damage every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. So the key with carrion worms is to run away from them, crowd control them and DPS them down as quickly as possible. Okay, so Armarth the Harvester. Armarth oversees the harvesting of corpses from atop the undead monastery. Bonefang, flying above the battle, the sadistic commander destroyed the Hand of Courage and now comes for their Paragon. Armarth raises minions from the dead to assault players during Land of the Deep. After a short time, he will cast Final Harvest, destroying his minions and inflicting damage to all players if they still stand. Destroy Armarth's minions before he is able to cast Final Harvest and avoid being hit by Necrotic Breath. Land of the Dead, channeled. Armarth summons skeleton minions to his side over 4 seconds. Inflicts 2,485 shadow damage to all players within 3 yards of the summoning location. Final Harvest. Unlimited range, 4 second cast. Armarth harvests the bodies of his minions, destroying them. If the minions still stand, it explodes and inflicts 3,976 damage to all players. Otherwise, its corpse explodes, inflicting 3,976 damage only to players within 8 yards. And Necrotic Breath. Unlimited range, instant. Bonefang spews forth necrotic spittle, inflicting 1,491 shadow damage every 0.5 seconds to enemies caught in the breath and reducing healing received by 50%. So it seems fairly straightforward. DPS the skeletons down as fast as possible and stay out of the necrotic breath. Surgeon Stitchflesh. Surgeon Stitchflesh is the mastermind behind the grisly abominations that are deployed from the floating fortress of Zolramus. He bends to his task with maniacal fervour, crafting the flesh of fallen enemies into undead constructs to be used in Maldraxxus's wars. Surgeon Stitchflesh periodically awakens creations to aid him from atop his platform while his constructs assault players with Meathook. Aim Meathook carefully to pull Surgeon Stitchflesh from his platform. Quickly defeat Stitchflesh's creations before you are overwhelmed. Prioritise Surgeon Stitchflesh while he's in the area before he has chance to escape. Awaken Creation. 2 second cast. Stitchflesh awakens one of his monstrous creations and douses them with festering rot. Meathook, 300 yard range, 3 second cast. The construct hurls its Meathook through the air, pulling the first target it hit to its location. Inflicts 3,976 physical damage to players. And escape 300 yard range, instant cast. After a short period of time, Stitch Flesh escapes to the safety of his work table. Now for the Rhinebinder. From atop the flying ziggurat Zolramus, Nalthor the Rhinebinder commands the forces attacking Bastion. The conniving Lich plans to rain frozen magic and death on the pristine lands of Bastion. Upon reaching 100 energy, Nalthor the Rhinebinder banishes a player to the lower reaches of Zolramus. Players banished in such a fashion must negotiate a frozen gauntlet to rejoin their allies and continue their assault on Nalthor. Frozen Binds will chain its effect to nearby allies when it is removed. During Dark Exile, slay the Zolramus Siphoner and free the bound Kyrian and return to your allies. Okay, so this sounds fairly straightforward. Stay away from any effects on the ground, and if you get banished, try and get back as quickly as possible. Frozen Binds. Nalthor unleashes tendrils of frost to bind a random player, immobilizing them and inflicting 994 frost damage every 2 seconds for up to 12 seconds. Upon expiration, this effect spreads to all players within 16 yards, so spread out if someone's bound. And Dark Exile, 100 energy, 75 yard range, 2-second cast. Nalthor banishes a player from his platform to the lower wings of the necropolis. After 50 seconds, players banished to the lower wings are slain outright unless they escape. Okay, this is going to be fun, he laughed nervously. Right, so before going into a dungeon I need to change back to marksmanship because I really don't want my tanking pet tanking aggro off the tank and causing stress. Alright, so what talents have I got for marksmanship that I haven't used yet? Okay, Lethal Shots is passive. Arcane Shot and Multi-Shot have a 30% chance to reduce the cooldown of rapid fire by 5 seconds. Deadeye, passive. Kill Shot has 2 charges and causes aim shot to recharge 60% faster for 3 seconds. Double Tap is an instant cast with a 1-minute cooldown. Your next aimed shot will fire a second time instantly at 100% power without consuming focus, or your next rapid fire will shoot 100% additional shots during its channel. Now they all look good, but I think I'll go for Lethal Shots. And our level 60 talents, we've got Calling the Shots, passive. Casting Arcane Shot or Multi-Shot reduces the cooldown of True Shot by 2.5 seconds. Lock and Load, passive. Your ranged auto attacks have 8% chance to trigger Lock and Load, causing your next aim shot to cost no focus and be instant. Volley, 44 yard range, instant, 45 second cooldown. Rain a volley of arrows down over 6 seconds, dealing up to 2,561 physical damage to any enemy in the area, and gain the effects of trick shots for as long as volley is active. Oh, that is very, very tempting. My worry is that I might accidentally pull stuff off the tank. I'm probably going to go with the Calling the Shots. Okay, so that's my talents sorted out. I'm pretty much ready to go into the dungeon now. But before I go into the dungeon with a new spec, I better just quickly familiarise myself with my layout. True Shot. Now that's more of a cooldown, really. 2-minute cooldown. I think it probably should go on the top row. Okay. I think I'm ready. Here goes. Is there a dungeon finder thing next to where the quest is? Doesn't look like it, so let's go in the group finder. Dismiss that tooltip on the pre-made groups. Okay, so I don't want a random dungeon, I want a specific dungeon. And I want the Necrotic Waste. Necrotic Wake, I mean. And yes, I'm a DPS, and no, I don't feel confident enough to tell everybody else what to do. Okay, so I'm now queued for the dungeon. And because I'm a DPS, I might have a very long wait ahead of me. So I might as well go off and start doing my regular adventuring. Until such time as I'm called up for the dungeon.
How may I serve? This crisis.
Oh yes, and because I've changed spec, that means the Kyrian abilities will not have a home, so I better give them a home. Somewhere on my action bar. Bastion really is gorgeous, isn't it? Okay, so where are my quests? I think if I jump off this side, it should take me to where the nearest quest hub is. That's where those two Kyrian were arguing as to whether the doggy construct thing or the Larians were the better companions.
Speak, mortal.
A friendly rivalry. I am honoured that you came to me first. Allow me to show you my
Follow
ways.
the path. You seek me?
Phalanx malfunction. As part of their training, I order my phalanx units to march the fields, keeping an eye on the wildlife and any goings-on. Unfortunately, last time they returned, they were one fewer in number. Please search the golden pasture and search for the missing unit, then return it here.
Discipline in all things. Courage steel your heart.
Is there work to be done?
Resource drain. Usually repairs easy, anima everywhere. Except drought means we can't just pull it from air. Other sources needed. Take this. Drain anima from cloud striders. Not ideal, but desperate times.
My pleasure.
Normally would not do this, but drought forces hand. Never enough anima anymore. Phalanx. That was what that word I was looking for earlier. The mechanical dog thingies, they're called phalanx. Okay, let's go find some cloud striders and drain their anima.
I need to target something first.
I need it.
And ain't that always the way? I get the dungeon when my health's already low and I need to get my health back. Okay, here goes. Let's hope I remember everything I just read in the adventure guide.
Yet another of the Kyrian's loyal servants. Have you come here to be slaughtered as well? This temple was merely the first to fall. Soon, all the bastion will burn.
I need to target something first. I need a target. I don't have a target. I need a target.
I like there's a fellow hunter
don't
here
have a
putting
target.
hunter's bark on things. I know what to attack. Right, so this is the first boss. Okay, so when he says something coming up, that's a cue to get out of the way because he's going to vomit.
something coming.
One of those worms coming after me. I'll better get out of the way, and maybe I can crowd control it.
Bone failed.
Oh, luckily they managed to down him.
Stitch flesh will be urged to nearly destroy his prize creation. Though I am sure he would gladly take your limbs as repayment.
I need to target something first. I don't have a target. I need to target something first. I need a target. I need to get closer. I need to target something first. I need a target. I don't have a target. I need a target. I don't have a target. I need to target something first.
Face me, Necromancer. Thanatos will be avenged.
Are you so eager to share your underling's fate? Your vaunted courage will be
I
your
need to
doom.
target something first.
Your temple lies in ruin. Your brethren
attack
are
that target.
butchered. You have already lost.
Vile monster!
I don't have a target. I need to target something first. I don't have a target. I need a target. I don't have a target.
justice! You dare deny me the sky? Then I shall answer in kind!
Foolish Paragon! There is nothing you can do to stop us. No matter. My minions are endless. The fallen shall serve me again.
I need to target something. I need a target.
He will use us.
Your arrival proved timely, yet the battle rages on. We cannot rest until these invaders are purged from our skies. I will lead the effort here, while my disciples bring you to the necropolis. Let us end this atrocity.
We need stitched flesh. Prepare to strike at the next temple.
Just a moment longer. It seems that the parts for my new creation have arrived at last.
I need to target something first. I don't have a target. I need a target. I don't have a target. I need to target something first. I need a target. I need to target something first.
My assistants. These raw materials are in need of processing. incompetent oafs. Gorgrind, try not to damage those limbs once you tear them off.
I don't have a target.
How vexing! Rotspew, get to work, and don't fail me like your predecessor!
Okay, this encounter isn't going so well. I mentioned that we need to meet up the boss. Someone else mentioned we need to meet up the boss. But he's being tanked far too far away from the boss.
No! Now I have to rebuild those two from scratch! I can't wait to put your corpse to you. I'll have you in stitches!
I don't have a target. I need to target something first. I need a target.
I must preserve your parts for later. Imbecile! I'm the one who made you!
Finally.
You on your own. Oh, I'm awfully proud of this one. I must preserve your parts for later. No! That one was my favorite.
Ah, he's just out of range. We need to hook the boss, as they really need to be tanking him a lot closer to the boss.
I'm awfully proud of this one.
I don't know if it's because the tank doesn't know where to position him, or if it's that the hunter's pet keeps taunting aggro off the tank. Okay, this is probably going to get me killed if I can line up with the boss. Yes! Got him.
Who made you?
Alright, let's see if anyone's going to be nice enough to give me a res when this fight's over.
My greatest was yet to come.
Nope, they all just ran off, so I guess I'm going to have to release.
Bastion shall be laid to waste. The chill of none can escape the storm.
Okay, so the big deal with this one is to stay away from the swirlies on the ground.
Had enough of you! the chill. None can escape the storm.
I need to target something.
Fleeting victory.
Well, hey, and that's the Necrotic Waste done.
A fraction of our forces.
Well, aside from a little hiccup on the third boss, that went really well. So I guess this is probably a good place to break the video. So from me, Big Fat Hairy Gamer, have a good one.